what to write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds. Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. EZ BlueZ. Today's topic is emotions. How we cannot let our emotions affect real decisions in life. And I think, emotions just like get us down, and we try to actually don't try. A lot of people take a temporary situation and bring it out bigger than what it needs to be. Usually when people say, don't let your anger affect your decision, it's really true. It's really true. And, we all been there through times. We're all human. We sometimes, we just let maybe someone else's, feelings get to us, and, negative feelings attract, and it just like damages our whole day. But, we have to understand that, life is too short to, get us down sometimes. So EZ BlueZ, you are better with, expressing some of this stuff more than me. And I think
no, that's not. First of all,
yeah.
I would like to say that's not true. You are very eloquent.
I try to be. I try to be.
No, you are extremely eloquent, and you have a phenomenal radio voice.
I disagree, and sometimes I'm horrible with it.
Oh, well, look, we're all human. That's why we invented the flipping eraser.
The flipping eraser, yes, sir.
We invented the flipping eraser.
Thank you. That was I'm happy you didn't go with your emotions with that word.
Well, no, see, but that's the most beautiful thing about it, because I love how we can talk about emotions, and we can look at it from both sides of the
absolutely,
of the angle. Look, we both did some sports when we were younger. We both love music and all this kind of stuff. And that when you have the game on the line, you've got to keep your emotions in check, but you got to hold on to that passion, because that passion is going to push you through that next level. That passion is going to give you that inch and a half that got you that first down. That passion's going to drive you for that 99-yard kick return that got you the winning touchdown after you got the other 4 touchdowns in Polk High.
Totally agree.
It's that passion that drives you, right? It's that passion that from a music point of view, one of the reasons why people love seeing SP perform is because we're very passionate about as we play.
Yes, you are.
That being said, you're not, if you catch me 100% in anyone 100% in their emotions, they're not thinking logically.
No, they're not.
And we all fall victim to it. We all have those trigger warnings, or those different, and I'm not mocking the trigger warning. I'm just saying trigger warnings. Because it's very true, and you don't realize what can trigger you. And honestly, I will say this to all the parents out there: nothing is going to trigger you than some of your children's behavior that's going to send you right back to when you were a kid yourself. You never truly realize it, and it can set you off. It's one of the reasons why, I tell people all the time, I don't let other people bother me unless they are within the 3 F's.
What are the 3 F's?
If they are financing you, feeding me,
watch your language,
or fornicating with me. I said fornication. Fornication.
Thank you.
All right. I know it's okay. It's okay. That's why it works. It only works if you can switch them both.
Gotcha.
but that, at the end of the day, what makes another person more valuable than you in your day? Nothing. When we act emotionally, we're giving them the power to dictate where our day is going to go.
But what's the difference of not giving them the power and not looking like a defenseless person?
You have to look. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Okay.
So if someone wants to say that I'm defenseless, cool, try it. If you know what I mean? Like if you really, if it's that serious And this is not pretending like I'm the toughest person in the entire world.
Of course,
I just believe no one's above a good butt kicking, and if it's my turn to get my butt kicked, it's my turn to get my butt kicked.
Of course,
Okay,
yeah.
and that's just the reality of the moment. So if me backing away from a situation because I don't want to deal with it, or it's just something that I don't feel is worthy of my time, and it is kind of pointless, so make someone else make look at me like I'm powerless. Try it. See what happens. You know, who knows what's going to happen? I could snap and smack you in the face.
Woo.
I could give you a hug. I could give you a dap. I could tell you exactly where to go and how far to get there. I could give you the salutes. You know, I could give you the one finger salute. You never know, you know, but you'd have to try it. You know, I'm not worried about looking defenseless in other people's eyes anymore because I know I'm not defenseless. And it's not because I think I'm the toughest person in the world or anything like that. It's because I know that if it's a fight, I'm going to do everything in my power to come out alive.
Okay.
And if it's a fight and someone's not willing, and I hate to sound like this because this sounds so egotistical.
Hate to sound like this. Okay.
All right. But if it's a fight and someone who wants to say fight me, they have to be ready to have all their affairs in a row.
Okay.
Because I do.
All right.
You know what I mean? And that's the nicest way for me to say that. That's the nicest way for me to say that. And I go into every situation like that. You know, because really another person's opinion of me doesn't give me any value. You know, do nice words make me feel good? Sometimes they make me feel like you want something from me. Not you, but you know, and you know, there's other aspects of it, you know, but yeah, of course, you know, people love to hear, oh, you're doing a great job. You're doing all this positive reinforcement. It's so beautiful and it's so important.
Yeah.
But when you start living for that, that's a problem. That's a lot. And a lot of us who come from addictive families, addictive bloodlines, you know, it's genetically programmed for us to crave and to want those different type of feelings. And a lot of that positive reinforcement can give you that stimuli because it's that whole click from the brain, from the stem itself all the way to the thing, shooting up the serotonin that's necessary for you to that makes you
dopamine
feel
effect. You're trying to say
the dopamine effect, you know, and that is by far the most addictive thing out there in the entire world is that dopamine effect because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And you will spend the rest of your life trying to find the same thing to do stuff like that. And hey, whatever it does to float your boat and to get you there, as long as it's consensual, I am happy for you. I am super happy for you. Like, yo, more power, you know, get yours. If it takes batteries, get more batteries. I'm good with it.
Absolutely.
You know, but I also know it has nothing to do with me because again, when you break it down to the 3 F's, unless we were in that fornication, then that pure bliss has nothing to do with me. Unless we're both really hungry, then that meal means nothing. And that meal has nothing to do with me. Unless there's money changing hands, that transaction has nothing to do with me.
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to. And that's why I'm starting to look at that more and more. And it's very difficult, especially nowadays where everyone is so comfortable hiding behind their screens and you know, I could say whatever I want because there's not the natural consequences of picking up my teeth. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. You were on a roll. Go ahead. I was just waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I was not going to let my emotions cut you off. So I get the opportunity, so go right ahead, man.
It's that whole the natural consequence of having to pick up your teeth. It's one of the things that one of the reasons why I feel accountability is so big.
Right.
Like for example, imagine this. Okay. Imagine you're working, say Wendy's.
Okay. I like Wendy's.
Wendy's is good, right? But you messed up the order and you didn't put the bacon on the potato.
Okay.
And or you put bacon on the potato and the person is of Muslim faith and they asked you for no bacon, but you didn't pay attention.
Gotcha.
You made a mistake. I guarantee you, if you look that person in the eyes and say, I'm really sorry, I'm human, I made a mistake, and you own that mistake, the situation would be accounted for. Everything would be fine because you were adult enough to say, I made a mistake. Now, let's bring this into how weird of a world we live in. Say one police commissioner, after the loss of a life that did not need to be lost, went on air the next day and said, look, last night was a tragedy. We did not handle the situation correctly. We are doing everything in our power to be better from this point on.
It's accountability.
It's accountability. It's also you're being taken seriously.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things where this life would be right now if that happened. And, instead of people arguing over whether the dress was white and gold or blue and white, they're just saying it's a dress. That's really what it comes down to. You see it differently than I do because it's perspective. They say there's 3 sides to every story. There's yours, there's mine, and then there's the truth.
So what are some good times to make a decision? What are some good ways to two-parter? Good ways to make a decision and ways to calm down so it can lead into making an effective right choice?
I always go with count to 5 before saying something because I'm very quick-witted.
Does it work though? Does it work?
It's sometimes.
Does it work? I don't think it works. I don't think it works at all. Okay, let's count to 5, and then you're gonna just feel better. Like maybe walking around.
I didn't say feel better. I didn't say feel better. I just said I count to 5 before I say the next sentence.
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Because I have a tendency to light things further on fire.
All right, because
like I have a mouth. I have a mouth, and there's a certain person who at one point in time ran for mayor of this city who understands exactly how my mouth is.
Oh Lord, that's another show. That's a whole nother show. That's all
together.
Jesus.
But I had to learn to take a breath.
Right.
Count to 5 before that next sentence.
Of course.
Because that next sentence goes from a Mike Tyson quote, I'm gonna eat your children, to like, I don't like you very much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Within that 5-second thing. Within that 5 seconds, it will calm me down enough not to say something that's going to escalate the situation emotionally any further.
Okay.
De-escalation is a beautiful thing, and it's so funny because you never really understand how important de-escalation is until someone has gotten you in the best prank ever.
Right.
And there's nothing to do but kind of laugh at it, but you're still really mad. But then there's nothing in life like that joy itself. And for those who don't know what that feeling is like, there was the TV show The Rookie. It just came out this season where they go on a call and for a noise ordinance, and it's actually a prank that this band plays on this on the cop, singing about how the male cop is so attractive and he's a daddy cop and all that. But then as the guy gets angrier and angrier and walks up there and gets angrier and angrier, then a church choir comes out. And then somebody busts out. Church choir comes out. Somebody busts out of a van and starts playing a guitar solo, and the situation just becomes so ridiculous that you have to laugh. You have to laugh. It's one of the key things. Like whenever I'm in a super heated situation like that, if I can take a couple of seconds and I can get my bearings, sometimes I'll say like a joke. Just right there and there, just to break that ice, because something that's so super ridiculous. I've been in. Have you ever seen Liar Liar?
I have seen Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I've seen.
So, for those who haven't seen the movie, it's a movie. He's a lawyer and he's paid to lie. His son makes a wish, so he can't lie anymore. Spoiler alert! It was a great movie.
It was.
But in the outtakes of that movie, there hits this incredibly emotionally reactive scene where he's arguing with the other lawyer back and forth really like, and they're jabbing at each other. And she hits him with this thing. So he's like, Jezebel, flawed person, this. And then she goes, over actor. And he totally breaks character for him because he wasn't expecting it. And it was just so ridiculous that it was funny. And you watch the whole thing de-escalate. So humor is very great for that, but you gotta be careful because not everyone's funny. And not everyone has a sense of humor. You could sit there and try to hit a bunch of one-liners, and then that one dude calls back and hits you with a one-line that you don't ever want to, that's got you spitting sawdust, for no apparent reason.
Right.
So be careful with those situations. But again, get that 5 seconds before you say that next sentence. Because, and for those who don't know, that's why it is awesome to argue over text message, because you have an erase button. Because you can come out with this whole thing and be so mad and go, and you're typing it out, and it takes you 45 minutes to type this thing out, and you've said every word you can't say on radio, and you've called them everything within the sun, and then you read it over, you have that feeling of accomplishment, and then you hit the erase button. And you erase every single word that was written, and you text back whatever.
How truly hard is to not take everything personal?
Well,
even within yourself.
Well, within myself, it's the hardest. Within myself, it's by far the hardest because I am my worst critic, and whatever anyone in the comments can say, like what they think I am, trust me, I've already called myself something worse. And that's just the way I am. That's the way I've always been my entire life. But it's it's tough because other people's opinion hadn't mattered to me until I started doing a lot of the self work. And to realize that, I'm a lot more social of a being than I initially thought. And how much I needed that interpersonal, that connection. So I think I lost the plot there for a second. Did you want to restate that question real quick?
No, like not taking everything personally, just within ourselves and what others say.
Well, what the others say, you got to deal with your ego and the super ego.
Yeah, the reason I said personal, because we didn't really go too far in that aspect. I think we already covered what others say, like with emotions, and like just blocking everything off, and you really can't control what other people do. I think we nailed those points within probably like the first 18 minutes of this broadcast. But when I was talking about personally wise, it takes a lot of building just for yourself to feel fully complete about yourself. Like a lot of people have flaws that they're trying to work out, and each and every day. Like for example, getting that right body. A lot of people overthink of getting the right body. Should I do surgery? Should I work this amount of months in the gym or just with cardio each and every day to get the ideal body that I want? And then when they think they reach that goal, if they have those 6-pack abs and they finally look in the mirror that they wanted it for those 2 to 3 years, they were building up that body and that growth, they look at themselves like, oh man, this is what I didn't want all along. I kind of wanted this a little bit. They overthink the subject, and we take things too personal about ourselves instead of just being happy about the now that they're benefiting from. Am I making sense what I'm trying to track down?
No, it totally makes sense. But see, it's so interesting to me because it's really we're pushed against social norms. It's really the society that tells us you should have to look like this, should have to be like this, and different things like that. And it's through the different advertising, or a lot of the movies you see have celebrities that are adorable. And you would those 6-pack abs and all those kind of things. One of my favorite human beings in the entire world was Bruce Lee, and he worked himself out to death, literally. But he also understood he never worked more muscles than what he was needed.
It's true.
He was functionally strong. I hit a point where I had a 4-pack for a little bit of abs.
Okay.
When I was in the Army, and you want to know what it did?
What did it do to you?
Nothing. Not a damn thing. It didn't make me happier. It didn't make me sadder. The main difference was I was working out a lot because I was in the military. So we were working out a lot. But yeah, it didn't make me happy. It didn't make me happier. Did some of the workout make me happier? Yeah, because you have your body endorphins are getting released. When you run, as much as running stinks, whoever likes running, I'm sorry, like you were trauma. There was trauma in the
I
childhood.
think in moderation, as we talk on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, running can be fun. A lot of running is not fun. It's the way how you do it. Like if you're doing a sport and you're running, you're racing somebody. You have children. You're racing your children. That's exercise. Let's race down the block and back. That's running. That can be fun. Organized routine running, like I'm doing 6 miles to do 6 miles as it's a chore, is not fun. But if you're doing it as like recreational activity, it can be fun. It really can. Soccer's fun,
Right.
With a game, that's a lot of running back and forth. You can't probably put like at least 7-8 miles and not even know it with your body playing soccer.
Right.
You're having
or lacrosse.
Or lacrosse. That's a great again. Basketball is a lot of running. Football is a lot of running. You can probably
within
between
moments.
Seconds,
it's a lot
I
of
think
short,
of it about like 2-3 miles with football. 2-3 miles back and forth on the field. That to me is running, and that's an equivalent to the exercise. It's just the way you do it. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like it's all about what you do with it. But yes, running can be fun.
I mean, maybe when I was like a kid and I was running away from like the girl that was going to give me cooties.
All right,
then that
you
was fun.
say
when it was
you're
fun.
gonna fight your son one day because your son makes you so angry. Your son does all these irresponsible decisions, and then you have this joke.
It's not just
at
that.
this
It's
very
not just that.
age. I'm going to have this fist fight with my child. When you have legal, you and me, father versus son match is going down. Your son chickens out and runs. You're going to chase after him. You'll probably put a good 6-7 miles in and not know it.
Okay, first of all,
I'm just saying.
that was ingenious. That was ingenious. Second of all, it's not because they do anything to tick me off, because I'm waiting for the challenge. That's what
I'm saying.
That battle, that fight
what
is
you do with it.
Okay.
It's about what you do with it.
You got me there. You got me there.
Why you think all these gyms now have recreational stuff? Because it gets you going. It gets the, you know what I mean? Like it's what you put into it.
Okay,
honestly,
I can see that. I can definitely.
If it's routine, it's boring, and then it's not fun.
Right. Very true. Very, 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 very true. That being said,
yes,
I think it's a matter of trying to find that happiness and that happy point
in
yourself.
There you go, the balance.
Well, I'm talking about when it comes down to the image and
yeah, of course,
like
I understand.
And there are just sometimes that the brain weebles, they don't necessarily give us that freedom to just be okay with who we are.
Right.
The goal, in a very Buddhist way, the goal is to be happy who you are without putting in any type of effort, just to truly exist and be happy as oneself. We are also in one of the most capitalistic societies of the entire world, and everyone wants what the Joneses have and something better, because that's the way we are programmed. That's the way we move forward. There's a lot of religions out there who say their happiness is getting rid of all your worldly possessions. But I like my stuff. That's why it's mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff that I'm really attached to. There's some stuff I could give two shoots about, but there's some stuff that I'm attached to. There's some stuff that I, want to be able to pass down to another generation,
of course,
or so forth and so on.
Absolutely.
So I think there should be that happy medium, and that is that kind of that yin and that yang, where you have that balance between, being able to deal with the capitalistic and the socialistic aspect of it. I think when we find that as a whole, we'll be a lot better. But I think we're very far away from that, because they got a lot of people fighting over beliefs that doesn't matter because everyone's entitled to believe whatever they want to believe.
True. Definitely true.
You know.
But I think we're past to the point of, social media and everything telling us what our bodies should be. I think as just seeing like a lot of videos, just like the future generation. I'm not talking about millennials and back.
Right.
I'm talking about generations after us. Maybe Z. I think Alpha is thinking in a more broader perspective when it comes to the actual body. I mean, just like look at the movies and the entertainment out now. It's not really having that skinny model or that big buff dude shown as toughest. There's different variations now, which I think is a good thing, and it brings a lot of body positivity. So we're going to see a whole lot new body images, in my opinion, and I think our generation is going to see it. Our generations, because we're two different generations, are going to see it probably in the next 10, give it about 11 years. We're going to see something
for now
amazing for now, but not
for now. Well, no. The reason why I say for now, Well, the reason why I say for now, and of course we always say within our, in my opinion, because neither one of us are experts and neither one of us are fortune tellers. So we're just giving our perspective of what's going on.
Of what's going to happen. That is absolutely correct. Happy you stated that.
I got you. But the thing is, the beauty type changes between so many different things as for what is marketed right. At one point in time, the Marilyn Monroe beauty type was absolutely stunning. Right. The Marilyn Monroe beauty type in like the late 80s, early 90s, where it was more towards like the heroin chic type of look, was considered to be like what we consider now a plus size model. So everything is going to constantly change, and depends on how it can be marketed and how we want to be controlled. Again, they're like, oh, Easy's back on the bashing capitalism. Whatever. I don't care what your opinion is of me. It's none of my business. But it's, this comes down to how we're marketed it. Right. And if they right now, yes, they have all of this aspect, but again, they had it back with Marilyn Monroe. Sure. So in another 10, 15 years, we could have this super, super, super athletic group again, where people are only happy if they have, less than 0% body fat. It all depends on what the next thing is going to be. It's plain and simple. We're constantly chasing our tail, or we're constantly chasing that carrot on the stick. Where mass marketing is pointed is where we're all going. That's the reality of it all. And what mass marketing tells us is good, we feel as a group is good. What mass marketing tells us is bad, we feel as a group is bad. And there could be just a portion of that. And that's why you have so many different aspects. There was this incredible movie called Thank You for Smoking. Thank You for Smoking is a movie about lobbyists. And there's this incredible scene where this father's sitting and talking with his son about ice cream. And he says, well, I think chocolate's the best flavor in the world. And I think vanilla is the best flavor in the world. Now, in an actual conversation, you would try to convince each other that, this is what it is. What a lobbyist job is, and kind of where we sit now. All I have to do is prove that you could like another flavor. I don't have to prove that chocolate is better than vanilla. I just have to prove vanilla isn't the best. Right. That's a whole, that's a really twisted way to look at things, because you're no longer talking.
Is it like being like,
well, it's really, yeah. Well, it's really a matter of changing the argument, and that's why you see a lot of the issues right now, and a lot of people who say are a little bit more contrary. They'll hold on to a different part of a sentence, right, to try to make, or they'll change the inflection of how you say something to try to make it mean more to them and get their point across a lot better. And then it's kind of like when you play chess with a pigeon. Have you ever played chess with a pigeon?
No.
Okay. Playing chess with a pigeon. The entire time, the pigeon just walks all over the board, over and poops all over the board. but then it struts around with its chest out like it accomplished something. And that's what it's like arguing with some contrarians and stuff, because they don't have to prove themselves right. They just have to prove you a little bit wrong.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And there's no absolute zero. There's no absolute zero, because everything is perspective. So when I say I don't know what 10, 15 years, what the perfect body type is going to look like, I hope that we are more evolved, and as a species, and we care about every single body type. But I have seen us go from being accepting of the more voluptuous to being disgusted by it. So I can only know that we live in a very secular society. So maybe we will cycle out of it, and maybe this will be the generation that'll break that cycle. And I hope they do.
I think it will.
But it's such an embroidered, embedded cycle in us that I think it's going to take a lot. I think it's going to take a lot.
It's going to take a lot.
I hope so.
I think we're seeing difference. I think we're seeing a little bit of difference now, because a lot of stuff is different than it was 20 years ago.
Right.
And I think a lot of stuff is going to be a little bit more different 20 years from now.
But is it?
I'm saying body image wise, yes. Yes, there's a lot of stuff we can work on, but I say body image wise, yes. That's
let's just kick that. Let's kick that door open though.
Okay,
because this leads into a much better, a much broader topic.
Okay.
Would you say the same thing about representation?
Representation, no. Body image, yes.
Okay, so representation of body image, you see us resolving better than you would see representation of race, culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot to work on. There's a lot of barriers to work on. But when it comes to body image, like, oh, he's fat, all this, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's too skinny. I think that's going to be out the window in the foreseeable future. But what I'm thinking about with race and actual like representation, just the different ethnicities and cultures and backgrounds, it's going to take a lot of work. A lot of work. Probably, sadly, I may not see that in my generation. I may see improvements. But I'm not going to see the full spectrum. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying, as far as body image, I'm thinking that's going to be out the window. But like actually like full representation, that's going to be a lot of barriers need to be broken down, because like a lot of stuff that we're seeing now in the news, and a lot of stuff that's trying to be whitewashed out of schools, and a lot of history they're trying to take away. I think representation is a long road, sadly. Sadly. And I hate saying that. I really do.
Now, do you think that is because of how it is a completely belief based, and how completely and how quickly it can become emotional because everyone has, no pun intended, skin in the game in that situation?
I do think so. A lot of people make random decisions when it comes to actually talking about it. A lot of people don't want to have full conversations about representation. I'm talking about companies. I'm talking about just groups within themselves, because probably there's a lot of, I think with every culture and race, there's a lot of conversations we need to have within ourselves when we talk about other cultures and respecting them. When we talk about other backgrounds and respecting them, there's a lot of conversation need to be said. So much. There's just so much to go into when we're just like talking about that. But I think just numerous stuff, and I think assumption is just worse when it comes to that. We are afraid to like ask questions how people want to be talked about. Like, so like, for example, pronouns. That's something I need to work on personally for myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking for me. I'm not speaking for anybody else. When I talk to somebody like, oh, transgender, okay, what is your pronoun? Maybe I should feel more comfortable just saying that to someone. I just assume, You know what I'm saying? Like what their pronoun is. You know, I had to have more conversation with myself with that.
Right.
So I can respect that other person. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stuff I don't know. You know, so I can get the full spectrum of understanding and respecting their background.
Right.
I just feel just within myself, just within my race, you know, other conversations, sometimes I may say something that's like out of line that I don't know about, you know, that I feel I need to talk to people more, you know. There's numerous stuff
Right.
to say, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I just want to respect everybody, just a different color. I just want to respect that everybody a different sex. I feel a lot of, especially just with women, you know, I feel women need to be, you know, represented more and properly more, which is in the background of work and everything. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff when it comes to it, and it's a very thin line when talking about it. Because yes, you don't want to say the wrong thing, and yes, you want to say the right thing as well too. So it's so far, you know, there's so many avenues and so much stuff like
Right.
to say correctly because people, you know, react in different ways, you know, really do. And just with
Right.
this whole, you know, evil culture behind it, that's just, you know, out there. It's really hard topic just to get into. And just me personally, I don't want to go out there and accidentally say something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
But at the end of the day, some feelings need to get hurt to, you know, go forward. So it's so much to, you know,
No,
yeah,
it is, but see, this is kind of it's kind of where the topic really lies, because it is such a broader topic, is being sitting in our emotions and the things that make us emotional and things that do trigger us.
yeah.
There's not
But you don't want to go around
there.
saying something offensive. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I just don't
Right,
want to go to
but
that
right,
fact. I want to talk. I want to talk in a manner where I'm respectful, but still get
right.
my point across. You know,
Right.
and there's so
And
yeah,
that's not because you're not afraid of being canceled or anything like that. It's
exactly,
because you want
exactly.
to
That's
be
the
a
point I'm
good
trying to
human
get
being.
across. Yeah, I want to be a
You know, you
great
want to
human
be
being
yeah,
to someone,
exactly.
but I don't want to be
Right.
disrespectful in how the way I want to express my manner to someone. You know, I don't
Right.
I don't want to go that further. Yes, I want to speak my mind. Yes, I want to have an honest conversation with you, but I don't want to
Right.
be offensive doing it at all.
Right.
I don't want to say the wrong terminology to, you
Right.
know, where it's hateful or where you feel it's hateful. That's what I want to get my point across.
I think as a society, I think we need to get more into the fact of where we can have uncomfortable conversations to the
Right.
point of offense, and then work back from there, because there could be things that someone might say that you
Mhm.
could feel offended by it.
Yeah.
But if I don't know that,
Hmm.
I'm going to continue to say it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You know, like I
so
would
if you're
prefer for
like,
someone,
yeah,
yeah, I get what you're
right.
saying.
So yeah, so if you're like, yo, I really, I when I was coming when I was on I was on leave,
Mhm.
and this was during this is around the time that they had just caught bin Laden.
Right.
And I was on Exodus with training,
Hmm.
and I'm sitting at the train station, and one of the things we were all told is, you are a property of the government. You work for the government. You have no statement when it comes down to these interviews and different things like that.
Right.
So you see me. I'm in my uniform. I've got
Hmm.
my bags waiting on a train,
Right.
and someone from the Geraldo Rivera show showed up
Oh
and wanted
Lord,
to interview
wow.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, wanted to interview me about how I felt about what was going on over in Afghanistan and Iraq and everything. And I was
Get
like,
out of
I'm sorry, I
here.
cannot make a statement at this time. Yeah, I was like, I cannot make a
Man,
statement at this point in
yo.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
but will you at least go on record saying you can't make a statement? I was like, of course. And I was like, well, I can't make a
Oh,
statement at this point in
bro.
time. I can't make a statement at this
Yeah.
point in time. I had to continue to say that over and over again, because they
Okay.
wanted that passionate aspect. They wanted that, like,
Hmm.
that's not your place, and it's something that I discovered while in the military. Especially when people get on you about the being 100% clean shaven. It's one of the reasons why I'll never be clean shaven again, is because I had to shave so many dang times while I was in the Army.
It's hard to imagine with a shaved baby face.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's hard to see it. I seen you with it like trimmed down like mine, but I haven't seen you like with the full.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I saw a picture one time. Maybe I saw a picture one time.
Probably.
Like back in the day, I think you were in the Army and you had like the baby face. Okay, maybe that was that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So, but I missed a spot during my shave, and it wasn't really the fact that I missed it. It's just the fact that my hair grows really quick. So like I get a 5 o'clock shadow at like 2:35.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Same way.
And so one of the sergeants was like, you got extra duty. And you got to write a report on why it's so important. And I got to sit and really think about things. And what kind of came to mind for me was we were at that point in time fighting two different wars. We were fighting the war on the ground, but then we were also fighting the popular opinion social media war, or the media war itself, where you had to. The PR war, as I like to call it, the public relations war, where if we're all going in and we all look very professional and everything looks pressed and everything like that, it looks, a lot better. And when we're all, even when we're not actively engaged in a situation, you're always put together, you always look on the point, you always, then you will move forward and people will take you more seriously. And you're giving off that example. And then I just realized after leaving the Army that none of that made any type of sense for me, but it made sense for what we were doing at the time, because we're going over to someone else. Like imagine this, you're going to go next door into someone else's house and you're going to rearrange everything in their house. And then you're going to leave. That's what like, military incursions are really like, it's just a much bigger thing in that you have the tragedies that are going on. And I will say it. I will say it out loud. I'll say it to the end. And anyone
say it to the end on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, because you said a little bit late, but go right ahead.
It's okay. But anyone who's okay with genocide is just not okay in my book.
Was it hard dealing with a lot of emotions in the military?
Yeah, and
because especially, you got to be. I imagine you have to have like a thick skin, just like being there back.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the drill sergeants are the way that they are. They're trying to evoke those emotions out of you to see how far they can push you, to see what your breaking point is. Because, if you are unlucky enough to go into war, you're in pure chaos, and there's a good possibility that you don't come home. And you've got to be the best in your position. You've got to be the best at what you do, because you want to go home. That's the reality of it. The reality is the military, there is a very high possibility that you don't make it back from there. They tell you how much you were worth by looking at the insurance policies that pay out. And they pay out well. But at the end of the day, you're signing a contract for the value of up to and including your life, because you might not come home. And if you are a little bit lackadaisy in training, if you are, that one day that you are complacent, is that one day you don't make it back. So you have to be in check that whole time. And it's one of the reasons why when people leave the military, they no longer have to be in check, and their emotions will fully take them over because they're fully processing everything they've just been through.
Gotcha.
Because it takes that time, because you got to shut it off. You've got to shut it off. And it's not just, say, the military. That's like any catastrophic aspect of it. Okay. Any time you're institutionalized, and the military, you're institutionalized when you're in the military. You're institutionalized just like you're institutionalized when you go to jail. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So much so it's the same menu.
Right.
So it's tough.
No, I imagine. So you're training, let's say if the enemy like talks trash to you, and you're trained just to channel that out, because all those drill sergeants talk trash to you and everything about you head to toe. So, whatever they say just won't phase you. Okay.
Exactly. And what's really, super interesting, about that kind of stuff is, for many different reasons, because people can talk all they want. There's a huge difference, and this is you could tell a lot of people don't know this difference because this is kind of where we're at with the world, and everyone can hide behind their screens. Talk all you want, but when real chaos happens, the time for talking is done. It's all about action itself. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking about what you've got at home or any of these type of aspects of it, it's going to completely take you out of the game. Like, let's look at it. Let's take it out of the catastrophic aspect of war. Let's bring it back into sports. When you can have that one guy you saw Major League, right?
Bits and pieces.
So there's a catcher in Major League that talks trash to the batters as they're trying to swing for each aspect of it. So he'd like, oh, so how are your wife and my kids?
Oh wow!
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
But that's just to throw you off enough to get you to react instead of to act. Because if you're acting emotional, you're reacting. But if you're acting logically, you're acting. You're leading the action. You're leading the action.
I understand.
Try to spend the rest of your life leading the action and less time reacting.
Got you.
I think that's a big part of life. Act more, react less.
All right. I can go with there. Act more, react less. That is definitely the key motto. I think can be hard. It's a new shirt. Please trademark it because
Oh yeah.
We're not going to go further into that.
We had to react.
Yeah, we had to react a certain way. So it was very humbling this whole 2024, with the whole name change. But we just react a little bit more and and act more, react less. I think it can really save you. Especially when it comes to a career. What we're doing right now is broadcasting, because we don't want to react and say the wrong thing. We love to speak our mind, but we don't want to say the wrong thing that can probably, not help us grow a little more when it just comes to this program. So it's usually how it is. But, unfortunately, the time is closing. Any final thoughts? I think you can do this better than I can, of what we can say when it comes to emotions and just holding it in and just
that's one of the key things is don't there's a difference between holding in your emotions and not acting emotionally. There's a big difference. If you hold in your emotions, you're going to explode. If you process that emotion in the time in which it happens and you get really good at processing the emotion, then you are going to get better at that situation. Don't ever hold in your emotions, because it's plain and simple. Have you blown up a balloon to the point where it's exploded?
Yes.
That's what happens to us if, and then you become Michael Douglas and falling down, and no one wants to be Michael Douglas and falling down.
Is that like you in writer's block when it comes to music?
Yes, but I found ways to cheat through that.
What were some cheat codes?
Well, for me, like musically, I'll look at another song and I'll try to write the other perspective of it. I'll try to tell the other side of the story, or I'll start spitting a lot of hip hop, and then I'll start writing down the hip hop verses, and then I'll see where it sells me. Because once I get my pen started, it won't stop. But by sitting there and having that sub, where are these points of view, this other part of the story can I tell? That's really where I try to go towards when writer's block happens. And then there's other times where I just like, writer's block has happened and we're just going to not write for these next couple of days because I'm just not there. So it also does depend on the emotion as well, and sometimes being too emotional is actually good for writing and sometimes it's not.
True. That is absolutely true. I can't deny that. I can't really go further than that. So don't. That's the lesson.
Don't. Yeah.
Don't. Okay. Yeah. Let it all out.
Yeah.
even going.
But no, but that's the other thing. It's not. It's also not freely letting it out. It's process it. Process it in the moment.
All right.
Take it on. Take it on. Take it on. That person doesn't like you. Take it on. What are the repercussions of that person not liking you? You can't work in that job. Take it on. So you work at a different job. You know what I'm saying? Take it on. Process it as it happens. Because I'm telling you, if you hold it in too much, you're going to explode. And if you just let it all fly back out as it happens, you're going to explode. You've got to process it as it's happening.
On that note, WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City Made, EZ.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know.